What is the purpose of Carnatic music? This is the question put forward by my students, and they asked me some answer. What is the purpose? What is the purpose of music? ಮ್ಯೂಸಿಕ್ ಯಾಕೆ ಬೇಕು? ಅದರ ಉದ್ದೇಶ ಏನು? Music is really a soothing one. It gives mental peace. It makes us composed. Doesn't agitate. Doesn't allow us to aggravate or be violent. Is it the purpose? No. Music is like that. And hence we have gone in search of that music. Music, the nature of music is like that. When he meditated, just a bare silence, and he found Om. From where Om came, he did not understand. He started tracing it from where it comes. Ultimately, it is coming from himself. He is a part of the cosmic universe, and the universe is pronouncing A, U, which is already there in his body. From the Mooladhara chakra, it starts, terminates, and produces the sound. It was soundless in the beginning, but he was feeling that sensation in the lower part of the body, and finally it got expressed, showing in terms of vibrations, oscillations, and finally some dhvani, some sound or some word came from the throat, through the tongue, through the buccal cavity, expressed. When it was sweet, when the sound was very melodic, sweet, he relished it. He enjoyed it. He got sublimed with it. He submerged with it. And he said, okay, this kind of music I want. A rationale, when he asked what is the purpose of music, then this was told. The purpose of music is to get ourselves enjoying, to get ourselves composed, to get ourselves very much comfortable with nature. So the purpose of music is that. Now, what is the purpose of Indian music? What is the purpose of Western music? What is the purpose of African drums? It could be different, because it is specific in the word itself. When you are adding African, Western, Indian or Tibetan, an adjective is actually restricting the entire perspective of some object. It is restriction, not expanding. African drums will have certain objective, purpose, to have the beats in a rhythmic way, giving some effect, giving some vibrations in the body. Purpose itself could be that. Thereby, you are very much jubilant. or getting joy or something like that. The purpose of Indian music is slightly different from all the types of music that we hear. Usually it is having a base of spirituality. And thus, what I said in the beginning, that how music emerged, how music was traced by a human being, it was by meditation or dhyana sthiti. And thus he found some spiritual base connected with the universe. And when the music has a spiritual base, it is alaukika. He finds anahata sound. From anahata or soundless nature, sound nature comes. Your ahata nada. From anahata nada, nada comes. From where? Brahma is responsible for it, Vishnu is responsible for this, Shiva is responsible for this and that. All these are combined together and gives Shruti, Nada, Laya, Tada. So spiritual connection with the cosmic universe has now made him to settle down and meditate for, say, Brahma or Vishnu or Shiva. So the purpose of the music now turns only spiritual. But getting joy, a perennial joy, a permanent joy, permeating joy from this. The spiritual base of this kind has made him to chant the names like Vishnu or Shiva or Shakti or some Lord or goddesses. By doing so, he keeps on lilting that chant. Our ancestors in Veda times perhaps did this. They started giving a lilting tune, selecting certain swaras only. Swaras, I said, which they might not have known or might be knowing. I don't want to dwell upon that. But by selecting or excerpting certain swaras or notes or syllables, he started connecting these, and the ups and downs of the swaras were enjoyed by him. For example, he said, Agnimi ile purohitam yajnasya deva mritwijam. Continuously, if I am just chanting this, it gives a lilt. You cannot come out of that lilt. It has only one or two swaras, three swaras, which are just repeatedly told in a rhythmic, chandas way. Our rishis, our ancestors, propounded this, framed this, and they thought some vibration will be created by this kind of lilt. Rigvedic and Yajurvedic people did this. Samavedic people went a few steps ahead. And they said a longer tune, elongated swaras, elongated tune, taking the same scripts from the Rigveda. We all know the Rik called Gayatri Rik. Om Bhurbhuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo O Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonah Prachodayat is the Rik. Now, when it comes to Sama, he elongated तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भार्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् This is Gayatri Sama. If I start singing like this, of course, with a beautiful sonorous throat, if one sings, it will create an aura in the house. It will create an aura for myself. And the aura of another person may merge with my aura and we may be united in that. What a beautiful positive vibration that we are creating with this. Man found this. He chanted it. And Lord Krishna said, Aham Samavedosmi. He said, I am Samaveda. I am music. Basically, I am music. Aham Samavedosmi. Krishna said, not only for himself, it is for all of us. So if we chant it, if we are able to take line of these swaras in procession, in succession, one after another, in a lilting way, in a very soothing way, I think the purpose of music is now fulfilled. Where I am getting fulfilled, I am getting enjoyment, I am composed. I do not go for negative thoughts. I am creating an aura of myself. If you are also creating that kind of aura, your aura of your mind and my aura of my mind gets merged, we become friends. We feel connected. We feel connected. We all become friends. So there are survey. It becomes. Ultimately the purpose is this, spiritual. So spiritual purpose is now fulfilled through music by taking certain notes Samaveda preached. And in the oldest texts in India, we find Samaveda as the ultimate. 1,000 kinds of Samavedins were there. We have only 2 kinds now. All the 998 are vanished. We are not able to chant it. Only 2 Samavedin types, margas, are able to be chanted. Whatever be that. Rigveda cannot be changed. Yajurveda cannot be changed since thousands of years. Samaveda changes. In Samaveda, very interesting and curious thing one has to note is that there are certain things which are meaningless when we are pronouncing certain things. I was just telling you the Gayatri Sama. Tatsavidruvarenyam bhargo devasya dhimahi dhiyo yo na prachodayat. Him dayo. What is this? Him. Is it English hymn? Dayo. What is this? What is the meaning of this? It has no meaning. I will extend this further. How? This is also there in Sama. How? What is this? How? It's called stobha. Stobha has no meaning. It is just to enhance the musical power of a hymn. It gives a lilt. So, they use the lyric, but they give certain place for the lyric, giving a more emphasis for the lilts, tunes, or some enhancement of musical power for some, with meaning or without meaning. This is interesting. I am made to understand by many. Why you are singing Sindhura Varna? It should be Sindhura Varna or Sindhura Varna. No, Sindhura Varna. We are splitting the hair. We need not worry for this. Music is more important than the lyric. I don't say that it has to be pronounced wrongly, but when music is very powerful and giving certain effect, don't go for literature and excavate certain new things and corrupt everything. Need not. Sama gives the answer. So with this background, Drupad, perhaps music, which we are in a position to discern from many older generation people, that it dwelt on swaras. Basic swaras, notes. When the Drupad singer starts, how much time he lives in that swara. He dwells in that swara. He enjoys, he submerges himself in that swara. And then slowly he goes from Shadaj to Rishabha or Gandhara or Nishada, whatever. And it gives an atmosphere, a beautiful ambience for a peaceful living, a composed kind of mind work. The purpose of music is this. The purpose of music in Sama is also the same. The purpose of music in Drupad also maintains the same objective. So Indian music, Shiva, 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 Shiva. What has happened here? Shiva's name is chanted in a different speed, in a different way. So when he manipulated the words in such a pattern that in different rhythmic sense, it gives a different angle of feeling. So he put the swaras to rhythm or tala and he enjoyed it. There was only swaras, as Drupad indicates in its beginning. But the connoisseurs found that it could do better even if I excerpt some small, very simple, understandable lyric like Shiva, Vishnu or Devi, Kali, like that, and elaborate on it. So in that way, music is taking up the responsibility of conveying the message of Kali or Shiva or Vishnu, where the spirituality is still maintained, very solid ground, from the ground. So what is the purpose of Drupad? Spirituality maintained to keep ourselves composed. Purpose is same. Now our Indian music, when we are talking about, since long, we have so many Shastrakaras giving us what is Shruti, what is Tala, what is Mela, what is Janya, what is Janaka, and all the related profound knowledge about the music. But we don't find anybody, I repeat, we don't find anybody being mentioned in their scripts that this fellow has sung. Nobody has sang. Nobody sang. Only the Lakshanas, only the theory. What did they sing? So the theory might have been written on the basis that they were singing like this. But no Shastrakara wrote anybody's name in any of his treatises. Anybody singing. Tansen, Amir Khusro. We are getting these names only after the invasion of Muslims or Mohammedans. But before that, were there any singers in Bharata or Shargadeva or Matanga? They say Ranjayati iti ragaha. Okay, who did it? How did you listen to that? Ranjayati. How did you? What made you most delightful that? Who did? No name. I have seen many of the texts, old texts, where I am really surprised. No Lakshakaras are mentioned in the books. Only Lakshanakaras and theory. So dry these people are. Lakshanakaras are brutal. Did they enjoy music? Or were they so dry to just write the Prabandham as if it is to be submitted to the PhD? Who asked them? Raja asked them. A Zamindar asked them. So they wrote. They submitted. They got Todas and Kiritas and so many Padakas, and they remained dry. I'm sorry. These Shastrakaras remained dry. Because what I am seeing in these Shastras are dry music. Murchanas. From this re to re, ga to ga, pa. What I am getting? Okay, who? Narada sang it. Brahma sang it. Tumburu sang it. Hanumanta sang it. When Hanumanta sang it, the rock became big and solid. And another Gunda Kriya he sang, it got melted and what is this? There was no person. So many Shastrakaras are mentioned in our texts, but there are no Lakshakaras. Jayadeva had to come. 12th century. Before Jayadeva, we don't find anybody singing. And after that, Kshetrajna, Bhadrachala Ramdas, our Dasas, and Maharashtra sons, or West Bengal son, Vishnu, Vaishnava Pants. Only this much. Are they musicians? They were knowing music. They were knowing the lilt. They were knowing the tune. They were able to sing. They were able to dance. Dance and sing. All these people. The purpose of music was to dance. Natya Shastra says that music becomes complete with three. Music, dance and Vadya. Three put together it becomes Natya. Along with Vachika, the four together become Natya Shastra. So music is not just music. Music encompasses all the three or four. Now, let on all this, we will just let it out. After the invasion of Muslims, or Alexander, or Persians, or foreigners, especially Mohammedans or the Persians, we find a lot of influence to our Indian music, especially for Drupad onwards. Drupad was sung with so much of discipline. The rhythmic compositions and rhythmic lilt was so tight and taut that it could not be challenged or it could not be altered. So it was slightly difficult to be followed when these foreigners came. They they introduced their music, Persian music or Iranian music or Turkey music or Mohammedan's music, Sufi music and all such. And there was a synthesis of a new thing. North India was the first one to get this, sometimes succumb to it, sometimes synthesizing it and getting a newer thing. Khyal, Tappa, Damar and all these Tumri, all these were the results of this, and Khyal became very popular, very easy and very lilting, taking certain things from Drupad and keeping all the essentials of our Drupad music, it developed. South India was quite separate from North India because of India. Vindhya mountains were the dividing mountains or forests. Even Rama found it very difficult to cross it out and come to Hampi or South India. Naturally, we too had that. Because of this separation, South India was not very much affected as the North India by the invaders or outsiders or Mohammedans. Then who were there in the South India? Dravidians, Cheras, Cholas, Pandyas, all this. They are black in color mostly. The skin is black, and they are very orthodoxy. They are very orthodoxy. Even the downtrodden, they followed some folk deities. Folk deities. Amma, Kalamma, Dejamma, so many deities from street to street. And they were worshipping such deities. The result was they were having their own niche. They were having their own pockets. Lesser mixing with others because there was lesser danger from outsiders. So they had their own niche. So South India is more orthodoxy. Moreover, large number of rivers, very firm Eastern Ghats and Western Ghats, and thick vegetation and the forest animals all made them very much secluded in their life. So they were in solitudes. Their houses were about miles apart. One would not know what would happen after 2 miles away. He may have to walk the distance and get the news from them. So he was quite secluded, and he was performing agriculture or some other connected with animal husbandry, and at the most he would worship God in various ways. He would go always for some justice. I am doing justice. I am doing Veda performances. I am doing Upanishad performances. I am not disturbing others. I am very loyal. By doing so, he was getting an impression that he is supreme by himself. And he was very important person by himself because he was alone. I became very important because he is not disturbed by anybody, no. So he did not have any association with their partners or their neighbors, and thus he was independently growing. Lesser population, more a rustic kind of neighborhood and family structure, and thus they were looking after themselves. Only after some people, Mohammedans, came through the sides of India to Goa and further to Malabar, then only some outsiders came to South India and the culture got disturbed. The Christians, East India Company came late. But till that, South Indians were very orthodoxy, egocentric. It's egocentric. We won't change. We won't alter the things which have been followed by our ancestors. And thus, they were very ritualistic, very spiritualistic, and very much following the line of what the ancestors said. What kind of music that we had? Once again, these treatises by the Shastrakaras say that in Sanskrit, Telugu, that a rich source of music from South India, especially the Vijayanagara land, what British calls Carnatic land, the Deccan Plateau region, till Kanyakumari, up to the northern parts of Godavari and east and west parts of India, almost South India, Carnatic. Since we were in Carnatic, South India was in Carnatic, the music which was there was later differentiated from the north and called Carnatic. As we find, it was Kallinatha who first introduced the word Carnatic music. It could be some 1550s. So at the time of Dasas, Purandara Dasa or Kanakadasa or Dasa period, 14th or 15th century, we find some clue that there were some ragas, South Indian ragas, specially meant for special South India and not very much similar to the north. Whether North India was first and South India first is a primary school question which we should not ask, and we should not get the answer also. Indian music was the one original. Because of the influence, something got altered at north and turned out to be Hindustani. Many of the South Indian Shastrakaras had gone to Akbar's, had gone to Ujjaini, had gone to West Bengal, had gone to Bobbili. There were so many, Saurashtra and Gujarat, all places. And Pandarika Vitala from Bangalore, he is from Bangalore, South India, he went all the way to Akbar's kingdom and he became a Akbariya Kalidasa or so like that. He was very much appreciated. Of the 4 treatises that he has written, one is about dance. Of the 3, one is on South Indian music and 2 are mainly concerned about the North Indian genre. Now, I don't want to discuss about how South India and North Indian music differs. My students ask the question, what is the purpose? What is the purpose of Carnatic music? Is there any separate purpose for Carnatic music? There could not be. The purpose should be only about Indian music. Because Indian music is spiritual, bhakti based, or Nirakar Brahman, or Sakara Brahman. Nirakar was earlier, followed later by Kabir and others, and Sakar Brahman or Saguna Upasana by so many others, like Marathi Sants and Dasas of Karnataka. So they all laid the foundation very firm for bhakti, for spirituality. Perhaps the influence of Mohammedans and others into our family structure here or the social structure here influenced very largely to disturb the chastity of the persons. In North India, zamindars and kings were married to so many people, girls, ladies, innumerable. They became the dasis, servants, only for the namesake. But they were highly rich. They were given education. They were Sanskrit scholars and local language scholars and other things. They were given full satisfaction, bodily satisfaction and mental satisfaction by these kings and zamindars to fully, and they were called tawaifs. There was no hard and fast rule for the women or the men that this should be the norm. For the social justice, for the social norms, or for the social health, one should follow this was not neatly diagrammed. Instead, enjoy life. Enjoy life in whatsoever hook or crook. Gauhar John, one from the John tree, family tree, was such a very big rage in the field of music in North India. But later she came to South India, sheltered under the Mysore Maharaj, and found solace there in South India. And she had a pitiable end. Nobody looked after, because there was no one to look after. She is the very big top representative as what would happen if one deeply involved in such kind of indulgence. In South India, as Tawaifs we had at North India, we had Devadasis. Very spiritual, very scholarly, and preserving all the very top class cultural attitudes and approaches, cultural heritage was by these Devadasis. They were married to the gods. The priest of that temple would marry this gentleman or nurture that gentleman, that girl. So Devadasi was naturally be wedded within inverted commas, there is no wedding for them, to this priest. It was still going very strong in that sense, that it was spiritual. If we see the Khajuraho or some other Surya temple of Odisha, we find certain the figures, where feminine figures and male figures are shown in all Kama oriented features. Kama Shastra also ends in spirituality. In India, we do not see the Kama as ugly or filth. It's also towards Artha, Kama, artha and moksha. It is a path for the moksha. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha. So this spiritual element in South India still preserved in the form of shilpas or music or dance or any other cultural forms. Devadasis preserved it. But once other people came and invaded South India, for the sake of money, a barter, a system, I will give money, you give a lady, was a kind of barter system, and that led to a bad word called prostitution. And British people perhaps could not understand what this kama is in an Indian ethos. So they immediately said that it is ugly, it should be banned. So Devadasis system, anti-notch movement after Dr. Muthulakshmi Reddy from Tamil Nadu, who herself was a Devadasi. She mooted this idea and Devadasi system was abolished later. They became pakka prostitutes later. There was no other way but to go for that, prostitution. They became dasis, kacheri dasis, dari dasis, or all these dasis. Bal Saraswati, Mayne Dhanammal, like so many people resisted it, but they could not get success. The Devadasi system got completely abolished. But the real Carnatic music is lying with these people. That was what I was intending to just center around this. Carnatic music, Lakshakaras, if at all we go in search of them, we find it only from the Devadasis or Nagaswara players, old Nagaswara players. These Devadasis and their the later lineage people and Nagaswara lineage people preserve the music in their own way. Very interesting point that I would like to just draw your attention is that since we were very orthodoxy, spiritual and egocentric, all these things, we thought that the repetition of the same swaras and telling the same tunes and repeatedly one and the same, they thought that something more could be intelligently woven. Now intelligence comes. Spirituality is now connected with the intelligence, which is called rationale. Spirituality and rationale are two at opposite ends. It cannot go in hand. Knowing it fully well that this may go up in opposite directions, perhaps Carnatic music opted for intelligence. It did not just sing emotionally. Along with the emotion, it manipulated the swaras by waving it, oscillating it more than what the northern Indian counterparts do. They got slightly a different note, but still, though it is oscillating, it is specifying particular shruti. And this is ours. This intelligence, intelligently woven swaras called gamakas are very, very specific to our Carnatic music. I have given this example to many at many stages that Hindustani music is just like a spread out sari end to end. Suppose two people are just holding the beautiful sari at two ends. The breeze just waving on it, it just gives a small wave. You can just see the sari so beautifully exposing itself, all its parts, to the wind, to the light, to the wind, to the atmosphere, and to our eyes, and it is so cooling and beautiful. Our Hindustani music is like this, giving slight gamakas, not dwelling on it so intently and cruelly. But when we see South India, the same sari is used to wear it. By folding it into form, putting it inside the house, inside the body, and putting some onto the shoulders, and sitting in front of the mirror, she will just keep it very beautiful, very beautifully set on the body. Sari is beautiful. At the same time, lady is also beautiful. Sari and the beautiful lady now gives a still more very gross structure of a beauty. What the foldings I quoted for this sari is equivalent to the gamaka. The gamakas are to be perfectly used. If the foldings are not good, it could be a very rustic kind of wearing the sari. Sorry, that is not good. You can immediately cut a sorry figure if the gamakas are not properly used in Carnatic music. It has a certain kind of vibrations which has to be properly used for certain ragas. It could be re for Shankarabharana or Kalyani or Harikamboji, but it should be properly be used for that raga in a particular place. Otherwise, it is wrong. So this precision, intelligently put, rationally put for the ragas, has made us slightly superior to the ones who have not done it. So we have some superiority complex. We say, if you know Carnatic music, you can learn any kind of music in the world. This is our first sermon. Second, Carnatic music is the best in the world. Who said? Why? It's egocentric statement. The purpose of music here was intelligently dragged by the intelligent people from spirituality to go to some other terrains. Purandaradasa said it should be bhakti oriented. Annamacharya said it should be bhakti oriented. Bhadrachala Ramadasa remained it that bhakti oriented. All the music trinities, Shama Shastri, Tyagaraja or Muthuswami Dikshitar followed that. Uttukadu Venkata Kavi, he was sublime to bhakti. Everyone who intended to dwell on Carnatic music intentionally retained the bhakti element and intelligently wove the Carnatic garment. So Carnatic garment or Carnatic style had only one purpose. What is the purpose of Carnatic music? Solace. Compose. Be composed. Enjoy. But But that intelligently put gamakas sometimes distract. This is what I feel. For example, there is a dead corpse in front of us. Dead corpse. Can you sing Anupama guna buddhi, anupama guna buddhi, anupama. Can you sing that in front of the dead body? Or 8 kale, 1 ragam tanam pallavi. One fellow is dying on the deathbed. He would like to listen to music. He wants some solace. He would die. The patient would die. With this 8 or 16 kalas, his kale will go and he will vanish. This has confused our young children, youngsters, as to find out the very purpose of music. What we have done? We have done a very intricate pallavi, very pallavi. For one finger, 3 or 4 gatis. Every finger will have 3 or 4 gatis. And the end product is Durgati. Disaster. The brain neurons will get to fire. It's an extreme case of intelligence. Now that students ask me now, sir, is there any bhakti element here? Now what should I answer? How can I say that there is a bhakti element? Whether Dasharathi will come and bless you, which is not possible. Then what has done? What you have done? I have done a very complicated pallavi. Complicated to whom? To himself, as well as making others to complicate. The Carnatic music has now to be understood in a different platform now. It has flipped into another platform of rationality or intelligently intricate, complicated pedestal. That is why the newer generation people are not believing that older generation were doing bhakti. Even Tyagaraja did not do that because I am not doing it. I am not able to understand how bhakti can come in the little finger or the middle finger or the forefinger. Then the bhakti element or spiritual element is taking a backseat now because of this. Very interestingly, a common man would prefer to attend to the post half portion of the concert than the first portion. Let the RTP over, then I will come and attend the concert. In 1960s, I have read in one book, very important book, that, Ayo, why are you doing all these things? You first do the latter half first. Then we will listen and go. Then you do all the intricacies of your layas and other things in the next half, so that all the connoisseurs will listen to your music and they will be happy. So we are satisfying the needs of intelligent people or connoisseurs or pandits, the palmer or the layman or one who wants to listen to music and enjoy life. We are not giving anything. Right? This is very bad. It is not the purpose of music. We have forfeited this purpose. if you are indulging too much in this. Too much. I said, I don't say that it has not to be done. If at all it is to be done in a closed chamber, connoisseurs only, adult only Allah. Connoisseurs only. Let there be connoisseurs who would have a black lap. By consistently beating it, they would have turned black. Such people only will be allowed to be in the room, and let the concert go on. Oh, wow, wow, let the sharp bosh. Let it be there. Let us not confuse the normal man to this abnormality. We have to be a little careful. And thus, my students who asked me the question, what is the purpose of Carnatic music, still lies in question, because our generation or slightly previous to it, we have corrupted it. We have mixed up, made a mix-up of so many things. If I just sing it very beautifully, it becomes a light music now. If I am taking a straight note, it is frowned upon. Why? Why it should be like that? Should it be so gruff? I was practicing every day with my students in my house in the early morning hours at 4 o'clock. Bare silence all around. Just lighting the lamp. The drone is on. We will start with the Sa, Shadaj. Om Sa Ni Re Sa Ni Da. In the early hours of the morning, these sounds very, very pacifying and stable, gentle, soothing and composing. Once it comes to Pa, Sa, Pa, Pa. Okay, I'm rude now. Sa, Pa. No. Just feel it in the early morning and sing and try. In the early morning, Pa is very, very rude. It splits. It explodes. Sa, Ri, Ga, Ma. Fine, very fine. Ni, Da. Pa, lower Pa is okay, fine. But once you come to the middle Pa, it's very difficult. We have not taught our children how to spell the Pa without injuring our ears, without damaging the environment. We have to do that. North Indian counterparts are doing it. They are very, 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 very careful in handling that mellifluous Pa. Are we doing it? I don't think. The purpose is forfeited. This has made our young generation confused whether this has some other agenda than soulful music. One question is being asked now.
Sir, the Carnatic music concert, it's very power-packed. It starts off with a very brisk pace and it continues. Do you think the structure of a concert should be changed so that the calmness and solace of the music is brought out?
Sure. I would say that is decided by the time. When Kanchipuram Nayana Pillai was singing for 6 hours or 8 hours, Ariyakudi Ramanujayangar came and just shortened it for 2 hours or 3 hours, packed with 10, 20 items. People identified that, and every song that he proclaimed was very much understandable, and they relished it. We are still following it. Some of the youngsters have now revolted against it and say, no, why should we start with Varna? Ragam, Tanam, Pallavi first, and possible Janaganamana at the end. Or anything can be made into Nerval. This freelance music is very dangerous. There should be swatantriya. There should be independence of thinking. But it is not sweche. It should not go beyond the Lakshmana Rekha of certain norms, which Carnatic music has already drawn it out. Now, whether we should pack the entire concert in that form or not, test it. Test it to the people. If the people are accepting those, don't dilute it at any cost. If the people are accepting such newer concepts and newer receipts in a newer dimension, given a newer dimension, make it. Carnatic music has gone through all these things. It has gone through all the different aspects of changes, and it is what we are now having. During M.S. Subbulakshmi's time, the music was quite different, as you all know. Now we have changed. During Aryakudi's time, the music was different. If Aryakudi once again comes and he sings, I think there will be very less audience. If M.S. Subbulakshmi comes and once again sings, for first few concerts people will go. Then, same thing is repeated, okay, it's good, she sings very beautiful. They remain at home, they don't come to the concert. They are very skillful and very management talented, and thus they don't say no, it's stagnant. No, it's very good. We have no time to attend to the concert. They won't come. So time has to test your experiments. With whom you are testing? Layman or a connoisseur or a middleman? All put together. Since we have taken music from connoisseur level to the middleman and the layman, we cannot neglect the other two sectors. We cannot neglect. We have to be careful, because we have to give some, because he has come. We have to respect and honor him by making him to learn and know the beautiful nuances of music in a very palatable way, not at all diluting the grammar or the aesthetics. I think that's only, you have to test.
So you were saying the original purpose of music was spirituality, like enlightenment and moksha. And later it turned to a little bit of intellectualizing, intelligence mixed in. And then it moved away from a common rasika. Would that enlightenment kind of purposeful music, would that have been actually palatable to the layman? Because moksha, enlightenment, these are serious subjects. They wouldn't have understood it, right? Like
The mistake was ours. when it was in Zamindar's house, only knowledgeable people were attending it. When it was in Maharaja Darbar of Maratha princes and kings at Tanjore, it was attended by only connoisseurs and knowledgeable persons. But once it was taken to the sabhas and temples, it was a new thing for a layman. What they are doing? What they are doing? In Madras, a very renowned person was singing on the platform. He is none other than Mahavaidyanatha Iyer. Lots of people were there. There was no mic. Lots of people were there under the thatch roof. He was singing some song. By that time, there was a big uproar in the middle of the audience. He could not understand what it was and immediately stopped. Then he came to know that one scorpion from the soil bit one of the audience there, and thus he made hue and cry about it, and everyone just drove away the scorpion, leaving the concert side apart. They came just to see what this musician is going to do. They were busy in talking, busy in whistling when mridangam was being played, because it was giving a very big drum sound, not knowing anything about the rhythm, and busy in their own the sociological problems. So scorpion was a very big one, big issue for them, not listening to the music, because they were not serious about music. This is written in a book. That's what I am telling now. I am not concocting a story and telling you. In the beginning, when Mahavaidyanatha Iyer sang, people did not understand what it was. Why he was telling Vatapi Ganapati 10 times, 15 times, why this is being repeated was not understandable. So, to take them to an understanding level, there was no such arrangement there, and we have not done it. Without any effort, he had to go to the concert and endure it and listen to music. When Madurai Mani Iyer was singing, at the last end of the concerts, pack full, hall full. Why? All the automen, autokarans, rickshakarans, and people will just flock in there just to listen to the small tukudas that he was singing. So people wanted that. No, I will start that tukda in the beginning. Can you do that? No. So what we have to do is, we have to make them to learn. We have not done it. Music Academy or organizations like Music Academy have done this. That is why in Chennai there are more respectable and knowledgeable audience than other places. We have organized concerts, but we have not made a knowledgeable sessions to make the audience to understand that. Even to this day, do we know the intricacies of rhythmic patterns of mridangam while Taniyavartanam is being played? Why? People go to the cafeteria or to the urinals for that. Is it that? Taniyavartanam is it for that? We have not taught them. They are big novice for that. And hence, we cannot ridicule them. Just that we have taken that from zamindars or court of king to the sabhas. Now we should have made a very concerted effort to make them to understand the nuances of music. Hindustani music is not so tough as this. And thus in world over, if you take the percentage, Hindustani is liked by many because of this. And soothing Shruti, alignment of Shruti, and lesser rhythmic patterns, intricate, complicated, intelligently woven patterns in them. And finally, they also go to the crescendo, only to make the people to clap. We are making the crescendo in the beginning by making a very brisk beginning of Varnam. It's a failure. To make a warm-up session, let you go to the green room and do that warm-up session. Why you should sing Era Napai? For the sake of Era Napai? To warm up the session, is it so much needed to sing in the concert? Sing it in a green room and come. Otherwise, make some very important things, enlightening things in Geranapai on the stage. Do it. I don't say no. But if a 10-year-old boy is also singing Geranapai and a big stalwart is also singing Geranapai, I don't see any rationale here. We have to make some amendments here. So thank you very much for patiently listening to a very biting session. So it may bite, it's not with intention. So heartful feeling of Carnatic music, on Carnatic music that I have talked. If you feel it acceptable, I'm thankful to you. If you don't feel it to accept it, forgive me. Thank you.